Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and happy Friday, Junior, as we're almost to that favorite day of most people in America, Friday. And on today's episode of the pod, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints and their season preview. A very interesting team, to say the least. If you missed our last episode where we did the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons, with this first season preview, we're going to be doing the Carolina Panthers next week and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that. I know I said yesterday that we're going to do the Carolina Panthers today, but I actually looked at the standings, and actually New Orleans finished third. Carolina was the second best team in the NFC South last year. Give it whatever that is. I'm Coach, your host, David On Point Huffman. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. My co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. Welcome to the show, my friend, and happy almost Friday, bud.
It's not Friday, so
no, it's almost Friday. It's almost Friday. It's the only thing to keep me going right now, man.
yeah.
So it's been a doozy of a week for me here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Not only is it super hot, like sweltering hot, work has been a lot lately. So, but yeah, let's talk about some football, man. Let's welcome into the show, CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. Let's just talk about the Saints as an overview. Thoughts on the team as a whole before we get into some storylines and then their draft, free agency, and then their schedule.
Well, obviously, the succession after Drew Brees hasn't gone according to plan, if there was a plan.
There was never a plan. Let's just accept it for what it is.
The Michael Thomas.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in here. We're gonna talk about that here in a minute.
I'm not gonna call it an experiment, but his being there was dependent on who you have at quarterback, and outside of that, you tried to sell him. Who did you try to sell him? Jameis? Was it Jameis?
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure he's fine with. Like, you can work with that, but whatever that ankle injury is, that's either one worse than they let on to be, or his way of like just blatantly protesting against the team that he's not happy with the current state of things.
Well, we'll talk about Michael Thomas here in a few minutes. But yeah, for New Orleans, this is a team that's kind of in transition. You know, we move away from Drew Brees. Now we see the Derek Carr era start here. We'll talk about him as well here in a few minutes. But yeah, I think the Saints are going to be interesting. I think they're probably the favorites to come out of the NFC South. But we'll see. Izzy.
The Saints as a whole, you know what? They're out of all the teams in the NFC South, they're the team that I trust the most to win this division. Absolutely. Still kind of up in the air about the Alvin Kamara situation. We don't know what's going to happen.
We will also talk about that in a second.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And definitely, man. You got your Derek Carr here, quarterback here.
We should all talk about that.
We should talk about that too, right? So, yeah. When I look at this team, just a whole bunch of new faces here. Hopefully, they, can put it all together and get back. I mean, in that defense, they got some guys on that defense, right, that are getting up there in age that might be on their way out.
Cameron Jordan, to name a few. Mario Davis. Moving into the storylines, let's talk about the first storyline I thought was interesting. What do you guys thought of Jonathan Gruden's involvement in the Saints after what happened with him in Las Vegas? What do you think about John Gruden being involved with this franchise and being involved with the transition and bringing in Derek Carr?
The same John Gruden that all those emails was leaked about, and the stuff he said about other people, and yeah. If I'm the Saints organization, one, I tread very lightly. Let's not forget, this is the same organization that went through Bountygate, where coaches literally paid players to hit and hurt other players. Like that's not the organization that I don't know. I guess given their history, it suits them. Like, I guess, I don't know.
I personally also like a lot of these articles saying that like John Gruden and Derek Carr had a lot of success together. What success? What do they do together? What do they do together? What success? I personally don't. I don't like it. I don't think John Gruden should be involved in the National Football League ever again.
At all. And John Gruden is this. This is the same guy that never put his arms around Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Yeah, he never believed him in any way.
Never
He
accepted
constantly
him.
wanted to get rid.
Yeah, constantly wanted to get rid of him. Go ahead.
Is he?
I'm staring at the show. Sorry, guys.
That's all good, man. But yeah, I just personally, I just don't think John Gruden is a guy you want to bring into your football team and be like, oh yeah, this is a guy who's going to groom our offense because he's going to groom our quarterback. I just think it's a bad look for the Saints and the bad look to the National Football League.
I totally wholeheartedly agree with both of you guys. I don't even really have much else to say. This is a guy. Who just said that he shouldn't coach in the David said that. I think he just. Yeah, I definitely agree, especially after the emails that he sent out. I mean, you can't even trust his character anymore.
You can't.
You can't. And the fact of the matter is, other than the fact that Spider Y2 Banana don't work in the NFL no more, okay? So that's one fact. Then second, character issues. Then another one. He bringing Derek Carr, dude. You never even trusted Derek Carr. You damn right outright wanted to trade Derek Carr. Like, so the fact that you were involved in bringing him to the Saints or whatever the case is, I don't know. That just seems like you're just trying to weasel yourself back into the NFL, into some good NFL graces, which we all know that the NFL could be,
the NFL is
good old boys club.
The NFL is the last organization to have any moral high ground on anything.
Right. So,
So moving on from there, let's talk about storyline number 2. The long-awaited drama between the New Orleans Saints and Michael Thomas. Do we think that this will be the season where we see Michael Thomas and New Orleans Saints part ways either by trade or flat out releasing Michael Thomas before the season starts?
Well, my thing is, if he hasn't been released by now, he probably won't be. Because
I don't know. I don't have his contract in front of me. I don't know what his incentives are, what his guaranteed dates are.
I can pull it up for you, David.
I got it.
1 second.
Because
my computer's going slow.
I mean, like me personally, if you haven't been on the football field in what, 2 years?
I mean, really 2 years.
What good are you doing me? No, seriously, the record breaking season, right? The 149 catches or whatever, however much it was, right? He hasn't played since that season. What are you doing for me? Everything, literally everything in life is what have you done for me lately?
I mean, yeah, since he had that season where he had 109 receptions, he has literally not been the same guy whatsoever.
Granted,
he's got $10 million guaranteed signing bonus plus his 2023 salary, 2024 roster bonus. His 2024 roster bonus 3.74 guaranteed.
So a couple weeks ago, he restructured his contract. So it technically gives him a 2-year extension, tying him to the Saints for 23 and 24. But they could also go back to the negotiating table this time next year. It's a messy situation. I actually think that I think the New Orleans Saints are like, you know what, this guy, yes, right now he's a crater on our team as long as he doesn't continue to not play. But he's more valuable to us if he's healthy than any other team in the NFL. I don't want to see him get traded somewhere else and go back to being the Michael Thomas of old. That would kill me. I have this guy under contract. And I understand what TJ, he hasn't played and he hasn't been valuable, but I would just rather roll the dice that Michael Thomas gets back to form. And I mean, the Saints, let's be real here. This New Orleans Saints team, even if they make the playoffs, they're not winning anything.
Well, that's when the matchup science plays a role. Who you match up with, styles.
Sure.
Styles makes fight kind of thing. They get a favorable matchup, then again, anything is possible. But the thing is, with him, now granted, one of those seasons, which happened to be Drew Brees' last season, Drew Brees could barely throw the ball past the first down marker, throw the ball 10 yards. So his route tree was severely limited by Drew Brees' ability. So like the nickname for him became Mr. Slant because all he was running was slants. Well, that's all Drew Brees could throw. It was literally slants and ins and out routes. Like Drew Brees was not taking shots down the field because his arm
that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons that Michael Thomas had 149 receptions. He ran a lot of those check routes.
So, and again, the type of ankle injury that he's had, high ankle sprains, they're not they're not so easy to come back from. One wrong step, one wrong tweak, we see it. You're out.
I mean, your foot's basically hanging off your leg at this point.
At that point,
ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they gotta give him another. They gotta give him another go, right? He just restructured his deal. Let's see if he's healthy at this point. I mean, you already got Chris Olave, who, showed that he could be a deep threat next year. He takes a next step for this offense. You drafted a guy like A.T. Perry, who's a big guy, 6'3". I don't know if he'll be on the roster, but he looks like he's probably going to be their fifth, maybe.
I mean, they still have Traquan Smith. They still got Rashad Shaheen, who had some moments last season. You got Juwan Johnson, who's a solid tight end. All he does is really catch touchdowns. Our thoughts out to Foster Moreau as he continues to battle cancer. So,
yeah, they don't move on from Mike. I don't think they move on from Michael Thomas. I think you have to hope that he's healthy this year, right, and hope that he can stay on the field and build a rapport with Derek Carr. Because if he is healthy, and then you have that deep threat with Chris Olave over the top, with Alvin Kamara, Kendra Miller, and Jamal Williams running the football, I think this Saints team, and with that offensive line, because the offensive line is pretty solid.
Yeah,
I think the offense could be pretty potent if they can put it all together.
And don't forget about Rashad Sheed. I just mentioned him, man. Don't worry, James, we got you, buddy.
Rashad Sheed, baby.
Yeah, he's a good player. Let's talk about the third storyline. What to expect from Alvin Kamara as he continues to worry his way through the legal system. The videos are out there. If you have not seen them, I do usually watch them. They're not good. It does not look like it's going to be a good situation for Alvin Kamara. What are we expecting from Alvin Kamara this upcoming season, and do we expect some sort of lengthy suspension? Because being frank, Alvin Kamara, outside of a couple of games here and there the last couple seasons, he hasn't been all that good. Like, yeah, don't laugh.
TJ could say fantasy.
He
put up some yards for David.
But his yards per carry has decreased over the last 3 seasons. Based on his workload has also been absurd. I think what are we expecting out of Alvin Kamara this season?
Well,
he's obviously their best offensive player, probably still.
Let me say this, David, and I'll let TJ chime in, right? I think with the whole situation that happened last season, how much do you think that was weighing on Alvin Kamara's play? It had to be in his head mentally. I think he was thinking, well, maybe I can get suspended at any week. I don't know what there might be a million things going on in his head because he knows what he did was, kind of messed up. Now we don't know what the other bystander did. There's reports that guys spit on me or whatever, call me any type of racial epithets. I might do the same thing, but at the same time, when there's camera and footage involved, it's not a good look. They don't care about that. So my thing is, Alvin Kamara's got to be, his play last year, I think is kind of an outlier in my opinion, because I think with everything that was going on in his personal life, I think he wasn't able to focus on football. I think once the suspension kind of is past him, and they do actually give you a number of games, I think he'll be back to focusing 100% on football, and I think you'll see the Alvin Kamara of old this season.
I think he's going to get suspended 8 games. So with that being,
I'm gonna say 6.
Okay, 6 games. I think the best of Alvin Kamara may be behind Alvin Kamara. I mean, they brought Jamal Williams in for a reason, to take a lot of those goal line touches from Alvin Kamara, who's getting burnt out and beat up. I'm not totally sure what Alvin Kamara is going to give you this season. I think they brought in Jamal Williams because they know he's going to miss some time. Yeah, I think the best days of Alvin Kamara are past him. TJ.
Well, okay. You want to know what's crazy? Alvin Kamara has never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career.
Yeah, he's always been banged up. He's missed games here and there every single year.
The
He's a
closest,
small back.
the closest he got was
Frame.
the closest he got was 2020, which was 932 yards. So he literally finished 29 yards under 1,000.
But I think his value is out the backfield catching it, right, TJ?
Yeah, I mean he has over
On
he has,
purpose?
he has at least over 40 catches every single season he's been in the NFL. So yeah,
So,
he's
the past 2 seasons he's had 463 combined rushing attempts over the last 2 seasons.
they combined that. On top of that, they had over basically 100 yards, 100 receptions in those 2 seasons too.
Yeah,
And those aren't like long receptions, right? Those are
Yeah,
screens. Those
bubble
are,
screens and stuff.
Those
Yeah,
are basically carries. Just because he's such a small back, those are just carries to get him in open field to exploit his his
the
explosiveness
speed,
and his
yeah,
speed. Yeah,
exposure.
in the open field.
um, the whole suspension thing. Again, this is one of those we haven't heard anything. No one's talking about it.
Yeah, we're the
Yeah.
only ones.
It's like this
here,
got swept under the rug.
Probably Sports World seems to be the only one talking about it.
For real.
Like no one's talking about it. Like it's yeah. So it's like we in the dark. Saints fans are in the dark. It's almost like it's not like what's gonna happen. Like is if a suspension happens, it's gonna catch everybody off guard, and then everybody's gonna like all the national media.
Well, I think the NFL will make some sort of decision before the season starts. I don't think it'll be one of those situations where all of a sudden it's just out of nowhere. Like
what are they waiting on? Like the OTAs are happening right now. OTAs are right now, and it's June. Training camp is what, a month out?
Yeah.
I hate to be this guy to say this. I mean, but it's true though, and I can say it, and I don't want to offend anybody by saying it for the NFL. But unless it's a domestic violence situation, I don't think the NFL gives a crap.
I mean, maybe not.
No, that's real talk.
I mean,
it's like assault.
Because I don't actually
Like-
know how that's going through the legal process right now. The NFL may just sit on their hands and wait for the legal system to do its thing, and then they'll make a decision. Like we don't know what the court situation is. Like I haven't heard anything about that case. Like has he been up there for another hearing? I know he got charged by a grand jury. The grand jury took all the evidence and decided, yeah, we're going to charge him with whatever it was, battery or something. But I haven't heard anything else since. So we'll see. But also, I think the workload on Alvin Kamara has been insane over the last 2 seasons. I think you need to get his carries back down to the 170 carries when he was, averaging 4.7 yards a carry. I think you need to get back to having him catch 80 some balls, where he's averaging 10.2 yards a catch. Like you just need to limit his. You just have to limit those touches a little bit. And bringing in Jamal Williams and drafting Dondre Miller will do that. Kendra Miller, sorry.
Kendra Miller. Yeah, no, I was just about to mention Kendra Miller. It's kind of like him and Kendra Miller are like the same player. I mean, Alvin Kamara's better, obviously, because he's been in the league. But like coming out of college, Kendra Miller does the same things, does the same things as what Alvin Kamara does. And so it kind of, it scares me a little bit that possibly he may be traded for some assets. I don't think he will, but I don't know. Like drafting a similar running back with a similar skill set scares me a little bit.
It's possible they expect him to get
Who's gonna get traded?
No, I'm just saying like them drafting Kendra Miller, TJ is like it scares me a little bit for Alvin Kamara. I mean, I know they're suspecting that he's going to be suspended for maybe 4 to 6 games, maybe 8 games. But I mean, it kind of scares me a little bit. Like, what if Alvin Kamara does have another bad season, or like has another underwhelming season, or a season where he doesn't perform? He may be out the door. That Kendra Miller might be his replacement.
Yeah,
because they do the same things.
and he's getting expensive. I mean, that's why you draft rookies to replace expensive running backs. That's exactly what happens. Let's swing into their draft. Obviously, they got a pick out of the Sean Gruden trade. They took Brian Breesy, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Isaiah Fosse, edge out of Notre Dame. Kendrick Miller, running back, TCU, we talked about. They took an offensive tackle out of Old Dominion. They took a quarterback out of Fresno State. Took a safety out of Minnesota. And then they took a wide receiver out of Wake Forest with their 6th pick. What do we think about their draft?
Man, I actually like their draft.
I love getting Brian Breesy. I mean, he's just one of those guys, plug and play. He basically replaces Marcus Davenport, who left in free agency. I think that was a home run hit.
And getting Isaiah Foskey, because Cam Jordan's getting old and he's getting up there. Isaiah Foskey's another guy that you can see replacing a guy like Cam Jordan.
11 sacks in back-to-back seasons in junior and senior year for Foskey.
Yeah, and then I look at a guy like I'm sorry, TJ, but I look at a guy like Jake Haener from Fresno State. If like, you know, Jake Haener could ball, man. He's tough as nails. Jake Haener's got great accuracy. He's might be small in frame. He reminds me a little bit of Drew Brees in a way, but Jake Haener, you know, if Derek Carr ain't cutting it, you might, you know, see Jake Haener come in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I like Jake Haener though. And
the only time Jake Haener gonna see the field, I swear to God, is preseason. Derek Carr is.
I mean, Jameis Winston's still on this team. Look.
He says right.
but they did need to get somebody there at quarterback to potentially be the guy who's going to be the heir apparent. Derek Carr is only going to be there for so long. He's already on the other side of 30. This is a good swing. I mean, who knows?
Same thing with Jameis Winston. You got 2 bridge quarterbacks. Right? Yeah. You got 2 bridge quarterbacks. Eventually, you're going to have to find somebody to be the guy. And I'm not saying that Jake Haener is even going to be the guy, right? And Taysom Hill, he's not an everyday quarterback either. Like they tried that, it failed. Taysom Hill is what he is.
He's a tight end. He's a gadget player.
He's a gadget. Like he's basically
he's an offensive weapon that you can put all over the place.
Well, let me paint this picture out. I know that you said Jake Haener. Well, let's not put it out the realm of impossibilities, right? Let's paint this picture of like years back when the Seattle Seahawks brought in a guy named Matty Flynn and drafted a guy named Russell Wilson.
I do not.
Paul, time out. This is not the same situation. One,
I know it's not the same situation, but I was just saying let's not put it out the realm.
Okay, one, Derek Carr is head and shoulders above whatever Matt Flynn thought he was.
Matt Flynn was.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Flynn had like one good start.
One game.
I mean, Derek Carr has an entire resume of good games. He's got seasons upon seasons.
Matt Flynn didn't have one good season. Matt Flynn had
one good game.
One game. He threw 6 touchdowns in one game, and the Seattle were like, "Yeah, that's the guy."
That's the guy. Yeah.
It's like Al Davis and watching the Super Bowls in the '90s. Like whoever wins the MVP, it's like that's my guy. Anyways, if you had to go back,
there, he's a Raider.
Back to the draft. If you had to give a grade to their draft, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna give it actually a B plus.
Yeah, I give it.
I like the first 2 picks. Their needs. The first 3 picks are needs. So I'm gonna give it a B plus. I don't know how that offensive tackle from Old Dominion's looking like. And he might add some depth to their line. He definitely adds depth to their line.
Played 3 seasons at right tackle for Old Dominion. Their current right tackle, Trevor Penning, was just okay last season. So he could slide a guard. He also could play because he's a Raziz. They did not pick up his 5th-year option, so he could play some snaps at right guard as well and at center. So he's very versatile. Moving on from there, let's talk about free agency. Their notable additions: Derek Carr, Jamal Williams. That's about it. They had a bunch of people leave. Shai Tuttle, defensive tackle. David Animata went to the The Falcons, Marcus Davenport, who was a first-round pick a few years ago that they traded up for, never really panned out as an New Orleans Saint. He's now in Minnesota. Andy Dalton's in Carolina. Bradley Roby and Jarvis Landry remain unsigned. Remember how much of a big deal people made when Jarvis Landry got signed by the New Orleans Saints last offseason? Yeah, the guy was basically hurt all year and basically was irrelevant. And now he's out of the NFL.
Like
free agency. It do be like that.
Well, they finally got a quote unquote franchise quarterback, so to speak. Whatever that means. Jamal Williams, the goal line back that they needed, had 1,000 yards in Detroit. I mean, that's all they probably could have done. And then they kind of finished the job in the draft.
Did he have 1,000 yards?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he had 1,000 yards.
I think he just had a billion touchdowns. Oh, he did have. You're right. 1,066 yards.
Yeah, just stretched it. This defense, hey man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Bradley Roby, even Tyrann Mathieu, as good as he is, they getting up there, man.
I mean, Marcus May, another piece. Demario Davis,
they getting up there, bro.
I mean, Cameron Jordan. Like, these guys are not young players anymore. Bradley Roby's not even on this team anymore. Demario Davis is on the other side of 30. I think when you're the New Orleans Saints, because we kind of talked about this for a few years with them, their cap situation has been such a disaster that they've kind of just needed to just patchwork and like do what they could. The fact that they were able to bring in Jamal Williams is pretty impressive. The fact that they were able to re-sign Juwan Johnson, like give him a 2-year deal. They also traded away Adam Troutman. So Juwan Johnson is probably going to be the guy here at the tight end position for the New Orleans Saints this season. Ryan Ramczyk might be one of the best right tackles in the NFL.
I love me some Ryan. He's nasty.
Yeah,
he's nasty.
They still got what's his name from Michigan, right? Cesar Ruiz. He's still center. He's still right center.
No, he played. They have him playing the right guard, but they did not pick up. They did not pick up his 5th-year option. He's been a good player, but he has, for some reason, they did pick up his 5th-year option.
Yeah, I remember when they made that pick, it was kind of like they were like head scratching. It's like what? Yeah. Oh, they never really replaced. God, what is his name?
The dude that went to New Orleans in the Jimmy Graham trade, or to Seattle in the Jimmy Graham trade.
Yeah, him.
I don't remember his name right now.
They never.
I will get it for you.
Sorry, folks. We are still in NBA mode.
Yeah.
But Derek Carr, even with all the names you said that are quote unquote getting up there in age for the Saints, this is the best defense Derek Carr has ever had. Think about that. Like,
absolutely.
When Derek Carr, as a member of the Raiders, Derek Carr
Max Unger was the guy.
Max Unger. Okay. When Derek Carr was on the Raiders, he never had a top 20 defense. Ever.
Well, he should have for sure. He should have that now. So.
I just want all the people to think about that. Like Derek, like all the people that have anything negative to say about Derek Carr, Raider Nation, it's a lot of them. You want to blame Derek Carr for all those losses. Derek Carr's defense has never helped him out. Again, what good is scoring points if my defense is just going to give them up? Like I tell y'all this all the time. They played the 2020 season. They played a game against the Chiefs, right? It's a minute 15 left. And they scored, and I walked away, and I'm like, too much time. And by the time I went to my kitchen to get a drink and got back to my room, the Chiefs had scored. How's that Derek Carr's fault?
No, Derek Carr,
baby. I remember that game.
Outside of Rich Gannon, I mean, the last 25 years, Derek Carr's been the best quarterback they've had by far.
By far.
It's not even close. But I think when your rosters is set up, like Derek Carr, Jamal Williams, I mean, the Saints, they did what they did. Marcus Davenport loss hurts. He was up and coming. You know, he had a down season this year, but he had a season 10 sacks a few years ago. That's what the Minnesota Vikings are banking on. They're limited in free agency. This is probably a C.
Because of that cap situation, you can only
do so much.
You're right. You can only do so much.
So let's jump into the schedule. Let's take a look at their 2023 schedule. If you were to look at their schedule and look at what do you think their record is going to be when it's all said and done? Go ahead and take a look at the schedule. Let me know what you think with their schedule, what their record's going to be. We're not going to go through each individual game this year. Actually, fuck it. Let's just go through each game. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. They go. Tennessee comes to New Orleans. Who you guys got in that game? I will take the New Orleans Saints to win that game at home.
New Orleans.
TJ.
We don't even know what that quarterback situation looking like in Tennessee.
We don't know what that secondary situation is going to be like. We don't know what that wide receiver situation is going to be. Yeah, give me the Saints.
Yeah,
Give me the New Orleans Saints.
It's too many question marks about the Titans right now. The only thing that they got going for them is Derrick Henry, and he could be a trade chip. So,
moving on to the second week, Carolina Panthers. They go to whatever that stadium's called now in Carolina to play the Carolina Panthers.
Is it eight? Golly. Is it Bank of America Stadium still?
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it.
Anyways, yeah, it's a W for the Saints. W for the Saints.
Bank of America Stadium, it is.
Carolina.
I'm also I'm also taking the New Orleans Saints to win this game against the Carolina Panthers. I expect Carolina to be the worst team in this division by far. TJ.
Yes.
It's gonna be closer than a lot of people think. But I think, wait, give me the Saints, but I don't feel good about it.
James, he lives in Nashville. He works at the Titan Stadium. He better win that opener. I won't hear the end of it. Yeah, I'm thinking we're sweeping it. We're all taking the New Orleans Saints. We got your back here. Also, if we don't know that most of us are from Chicago, outside of Izzy, well, Izzy's from Chicago. He ain't a Bears fan. He's a Green Bay Packers fan. In week number 3, the Carolina New Orleans Saints go to Green Bay and take on Jordan Love.
Come on, man. Jordan Love for the W, baby.
I'm taking New Orleans.
Pick against my team.
I don't think Jordan Love's ready for the Bayou. And I know this game's in Green Bay, but
No,
he ain't
it's
ready.
Green Bay, baby.
He ain't ready.
He ain't ready for that deep. He ain't ready for that defense, huh?
No, I'm taking New Orleans Saints to beat Green Bay. TJ.
Yeah, if this game was in New Orleans, then I would probably side with New Orleans.
I'm only kidding. I'm not taking the Saints. I'm not taking the Packers.
Yeah. 2-1 so far for the New Orleans Saints, which is not bad. And then Tampa Bay comes into town, huh?
Tampa Bay comes to town. I think they beat
3-1.
I think they split with Tampa Bay. I think they split with all the teams in the NFL, except for the Carolina Panthers. I will take them beating Tampa Bay in New Orleans.
I think they sweep Tampa too.
Yeah, maybe
3-1.
Week after that, they go back-to-back weeks. They go to New England and they go to Houston. How do you think those two games shake out? Do they come out of that mini road trip as 2 winners, or how do you see it?
They come out 4-2, so they lose to New England, beat Houston.
I agree with you on that, TJ.
They might mess around and lose both, which is highly possible. I'm not throwing out hyperbole. Like they could definitely lose both. Bill Belichick is a menace. Granted, he is a stubborn menace, but a menace nonetheless. And we're not going to sit here and act like what's his name, Mac Jones, doesn't need to have a great season. He doesn't, not good, great. He needs to be great for the New England Patriots. Did y'all freeze? No.
We listen to we listen to you.
Oh, I see a split. I just don't know what Y'all said they lose to New Orleans.
Then you got the Houston Texans who ain't got worth for nothing at wide receiver beating the damn New Orleans Saints.
At Houston?
You ain't got nothing worth but no type of defense, paperweight defense.
The same Houston that went up and shocked Indy on the last game of the season?
Yeah, man, come on. Indy wasn't playing for nothing. Speaking of the,
it was Houston apparently.
we will stay at
4-2 for
4-2.
me.
I got it at 4-2 as well. Staying in the AFC South, we got back-to-back matchups. One game going Jacksonville Jaguars coming to the Bayou, and then they go to the house that Peyton Manning built, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. How do you see these two games shaking out?
They lose to Jacksonville. To me,
I got them beating the Colts and losing to the Jags, 5-3.
Yeah, same thing. I got them losing to the Jags, beating the Colts, 5-3 for me as well.
who's quarterback? I just said they lose to Jacksonville.
Colts, it will probably, at this point in the season, it'll probably be Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. So that's definitely, well, I don't know. Anthony Richardson steps his game up against real good teams, but it's the NFL, though.
The NFL.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, is that,
or it could be all sorts of the Minshew mania, baby.
whatever, dude, whatever that means.
I always had to buy a jersey. That's what it means.
5-3, baby. 5-3, baby. 5-3 for me.
Hey, they lose to the Jags. They beat the Colts. Because I don't know what this quarterback situation is in Indy.
And then we got back-to-back games in the NFC North. First, the Chicago Bears roll into the Bayou, and then they go up to the Horn and the frozen tundra that is the Minnesota, taking on the Minnesota.
Boy, they play indoors.
No one calls Minnesota. No one calls Minnesota frozen anything.
It's still cold. It's still cold. It's gonna be cold up there in December or November.
We call it Minnesota. We call it Minnesota.
But
that's
Chicago Bears, back-to-back Chicago Bears.
House.
I also have them splitting this as well. I think they beat the Chicago Bears at home. I think they go to Minnesota and lose. I got them at 6-4 going into their.
You know what? Depending on how Justin Fields' development is next year, I could see the Bears going into New Orleans.
I think they lose both.
I could see a scenario where they lose both games
because I think the Bears are going to be improved on defense. They're definitely going to have an offense that can put points on the board. I'm actually going to go with the Bears to win, and I'm actually gonna have them going into Minnesota and winning against Minnesota. Actually, so I got them splitting, but I just have it reversed. I got them beating Minnesota, and I got them beating Minnesota and losing to the Bears.
I got them losing both. I changed my mind. They're losing both games. They're 5-5. TJ.
Yeah, they're losing both.
After the bye, they go to Atlanta into what is that? The Mercedes,
Mercedes-Benz
Stadium. No, just stadium. Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, they go to Atlanta. I think this is where they come up with another L. I think Atlanta's going to be. I think Atlanta, as I talked about in the last episode, I think Atlanta's going to be one of those teams that you'll remember playing. Like they're going to be one of those teams that runs the ball 40 times a game, and like you just feel the Atlanta Falcons because they got to go to the offensive line and they have some weapons on the outside. Atlanta's going to be better. I predicted them on the last show to win the South. I'm sticking with it. Atlanta, they lose to Atlanta in Atlanta.
You got a lot of faith in Desmond Ridder, don't you?
No, it's not about Desmond Ridder. It's about that offensive line in that running game.
You have a lot of faith in Desmond Ridder there, don't you?
And I think their defense is going to be top 10-ish next season.
It's a lot of faith.
Maybe.
I got you know what? They're better than Atlanta. So I got them beating Atlanta 7-5. Wait, no, I had them. What I had them 6-4. Is this their 11th game?
Yeah, I got them at 5-6.
Yes, I got them. I got them 7-4.
TJ.
I got them beating Atlanta.
Yeah, you got a lot of faith in Atlanta. Well, also Izzy, he did pick Atlanta to win the division, so there's that. So
yeah, that's why he's got to follow it up with
2 years ago. That was 2
years. Was that 2 years ago?
Jeez. Not just.
Yeah,
I said I could. I said I could win the South.
7-5 for me, baby.
Basically picked them to win the South. They're beating Atlanta.
Are you gonna put the shades on? You put the stunner shades on over there? Jesus, hiding over there from the spotlight over there.
Yeah. And then they played three. TJ, you taking the Saints in this matchup?
Yeah, Saints.
Then they got 3 games at home. New Orleans comes to town, Carolina comes to town, and the Giants come to town on this home trip with the home cooking. How many of these games do they win down at the Bayou? Lions, Panthers, Giants.
One.
I also only win in one game, and that's against the Panthers because they lose to the Giants and they lose to the Lions.
I agree with you. I think they lose. I think they lose in big time fashion against the New Orleans Saints or against the Detroit Lions, and they beat the Panthers, and they lose to the Giants as well because I think the Giants are going to continue to improve.
The only way they lose the only way they beat Detroit is if they turn it into a shootout. And Detroit made moves to. I got to look at what Detroit did, but I'm pretty sure they made moves to address their defense.
Yeah, they went and got Cameron Sutton. They did some stuff in the draft. They also they did trade Jeffrey Okudah away.
Did they get Gardner Johnson too? Didn't they get him too?
They did shore up their defense. I cannot remember. I don't have that in front of me right now.
Yeah, the only way they beat the Lions if they make it a shootout. I don't think that defense can hold up, can contain Saquon Barkley long enough to get.
I mean, they got Emmanuel Mosley, they got C.J. Gardner Johnson, and then they got Cameron Sutton, and then Emmanuel Mosley all in free agency this offseason, and they drafted Brian Branch as well.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually gonna go New Orleans. I'm actually gonna go New Orleans to beat the Giants. So I got them losing to the Lions. I got them beating Carolina, beating the Giants. I got them at 9-5 so far.
You know who's not going to be happy with Mr. Christian Simpson's not going to be happy to hear that at all.
Oh, I know.
Moving on, they go 2 games back-to-back on the road against teams that won the Super Bowl within the last 5 years. First, the Los Angeles Rams, and then they go to Tampa Bay, take on the Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers. How do you see these 2 games shaking out for the New Orleans Saints?
Or the Kyle Trask Buccaneers.
Maybe.
Did you see the video? Did you see the video, Izzy?
I saw the video. They couldn't hit the side of a red barn.
What video? What video?
Jesus,
my God, David!
More social
media. Link. You need to be on Twitter, David. Okay, I'm gonna give you this in a nutshell. Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield were just, they were competing, kind of quarterback. They were going back and forth, and they couldn't hit the side of a red barn, man. They were overthrowing their wide receivers, underthrowing their wide receivers. It was bad. It didn't look good. Didn't look good.
Is the video on Bleacher Report right now?
Yes, that's it.
I guess so.
They couldn't. Oh, dude, they couldn't hit a yellow bus in front of them, 5 feet in front of them, if they wanted to.
That being said, I have the Saints losing both these games. I expect the Rams to be better. I expect them to be as injured as they were this past season. And I think Baker Mayfield will still be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they get that game. So I got them falling down to 6-10 now.
Baker's gonna have that one game where where his followers and believers just be like, "Did you see that one throw on 3rd down that Baker Mayfield made to Mike?" It's like, it's not.
That's exactly why he's going to get another contract next offseason.
I got the Saints with a bounce back season, guys. 11-5.
Wow, that was
11 and 6, because I think they'll lose that last game to Atlanta. I think Atlanta will play their butts off to end the season strong. I don't think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs. So I got them 11-6, winning the division, making the playoffs.
I have New Orleans at 7-10. I do not have them making the playoffs. I do not even have them winning the NFC South. I just don't believe the Derek Carr thing is going to be that much of a difference to make this team that much better than it was last season. I just don't believe it. TJ, final record for you for New Orleans.
Same thing as I said with the Falcons, somewhere between 7 and 9 wins. Only difference I had them winning the division. I'm very serious that 8-9 wins, 7-8 wins possibly could win this division.
I agree with you. I think that this is like the closest division because of futility. Like all these teams, all 4 of these teams stink. Like they're all going to be close in the race because they're all not all that good.
Yeah, I don't with the Rams game. I don't. You expect the Rams to be better based on what?
I mean, I expect them to be healthy. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, they have championship pedigree. Imagine if they can stay healthy and Matthew Stafford's healthy.
Okay, stay healthy. Jalen Ramsey's no longer playing corner for
I know.
The only surefire thing that they have on that defense is 99, and he's going to see double teams.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
I absolutely realize that, it's not a slam dunk when we talk to the New Orleans Saints or the Los Angeles Rams, but I still think they're going to be better than they were last season. I just do.
Is that really saying much, though?
No, I don't. It is not. But that's the prediction there. I got the Saints at 7-10. I do not think they win the division. I do not think they're a playoff team. I think they will be looking for another quarterback this offseason potentially as well. We'll see.
They should have just tanked because next year's quarterback class is going to be special.
They should have. They shouldn't have brought. They never should have brought Derek Carr in. It feels like you're just putting a Band-Aid on a bad roster. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Derek Carr shouldn't be in New Orleans Saints.
You're putting yourself out the Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jordan Travis sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And that's doing a disservice to your franchise, in my opinion. But
100%.
Hey, I'm just a fan.
But yeah, we thank you very much for checking us out here at the New Orleans Saints season preview. Thank you very much, James Leon Smith Jr., for all your comments there on the Facebook page. We really do appreciate it. Let us know down in the comments section what you think the New Orleans Saints will finish this season. I'm David Huppin, CEO Israel Rivera, my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We get ready.
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen, and the Heat winning tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Heat ain't winning tonight. Give me Denver.
DJ, who you got tonight?
Come on,
I
man.
think Denver's gonna come out. A little slow. They haven't played basketball in 2 weeks.
It won't matter.
A little rusty. I think they'll come out a little rusty. Give me
chance. So the Heat win because Denver hasn't played in 2 weeks. Can we say Denver wins because the Heat are just flat out, I don't know, exhausted?
Exhausted? Possibly. That's the possible. But I mean, the Heat might be in the full swing of things. They're just on a roll.
We'll see. We'll see.
Game 7.
We're breaking this down as we get close here.
This is what's gonna happen. Like, the Heat are gonna come out the gate blazing, and eventually they're gonna run out of gas, and the Nuggets are just gonna steamroll them.
We'll see.
On that
Let's go, baby.
This has been our New Orleans Saints preview. We will see you guys all next week. You all have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Izzy, you running shows this weekend? You got anything planned? Oh, whatever. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, TJ.